Hello, Emalia.
Hello, how are you?
Dave here from Amplify, talking to the great Amalia. If you haven't seen her, you will soon. Um, and we are going to have a bit of a chat and learn a few things.
Yes, sounds good.
So let us begin. Have you always wanted to be an artist? You know,
Yes.
when did you get the songwriting bug?
Honestly, I mean, I was really lucky. I feel like I was one of those cases where I just sort of the moment I was talking, I knew what I wanted to do. I walked into my first music lesson when I was 5 years old. And she asked me, my vocal coach Nella asked me, why are you here today? And I was like, because I want to be the next Beyonce, which, precocious little thing, but I knew what I wanted. And she said, that's a lot of work. And I said, yeah, I know. Watch me do it. I'm ready. So I just always had a love of performing arts. I wanted to be telling stories and I'd put on little plays or I'd sing little songs or make up little jingles when I was quite young. And then I think I started writing like proper songs, proper actual structured songs at about 12. Yeah. So
Wow.
it was always just kind of something I was drawn to.
All right, describe a little bit about the journey since that 12-year-old who started writing songs, like, from then to, in 25 words or less. No, 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 just to
I'm not
up
good at
from there.
word caps.
No, 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 no. I won't count the words. There's something about, you started the journey and you started going down the music path, and then these things happen, and I changed, I did this and that, etc. And some of that just for the people that don't know you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I was kind of always performing because I'd been put into singing lessons at such a young age. I was doing a Stedfords and things like that. And when I started writing songs at about 12, I'd just learnt some chords on guitar. So it was pretty much learnt my first four chords, wrote like 50 songs over those four chords until I was ready to learn more chords. And I'd sit out on my driveway and just sing, or, the whole neighborhood could hear me, even in my little spare room where I'd make music. And it just so happened that our next door neighbor, his sister, was quite good friends with someone else who was in the music industry. And she'd heard me singing and she, I don't know, saw something in it, saw something in me, and put me in contact with these musicians that she knew. And so I started doing some studio sessions and writing sessions with them when I was maybe like 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was quite young when I started in the studio sessions, and from there just kept developing my art. Um, I was always working with different people and continuing to write. I did a lot of programs in school that helped with talent development. And then yeah, I once I left high school, I was pretty like I had a lot of experience under my belt in terms of performing in like public school settings and big shows like School Spectacular and things like that, big local shows in arenas.
Hmm.
And I was already gigging and doing little things on weekends for my own music and cover gigs with my guitar. And yeah, I think I decided to start releasing independently straight after school. So I was very lucky to have very supportive family and parents that believed in me and helped support me with with making that actually come to fruition. So I
Yeah.
released a few independent songs, which put me in contact with um, One Above, who was the man who ended up executive producing my first EP project.
Hmm.
So his management had reached out to me saying, we really want to develop you and work on some songs with you and potentially pitch to labels. So I think we did like a solid year of just writing songs together. And then we pitched to a bunch of majors. I ended up signing with Sony Music. That was how that happened. And then yeah, did my first project with them. We ended up parting ways, and now I'm an independent artist and doing
Ah,
my thing.
parting ways because of the natural parting ways with major situation, because most of the time, I'm an old dog. Most of the time, you go bright-eyed and, you think, oh, here we go, it's all going. And, majors are predominantly just, trying to rape the most out of someone and sort of, I said that, you didn't say that. Get the most out of a situation. And generally, everyone sort of learns from their first experience how to do
Mm,
it the next time, sort of thing. How to make sure that you're better represented when you're organising, negotiating,
yeah,
rather than just following whatever they want you to do, how you look, what you dress like, all this sort of stuff. Was it that sort of a
definitely.
thing? Was it a sort of, you wasn't realising your values and your the outcomes you're after?
I think in a way, but no, look, I was very, very lucky. I have a lot of friends that have had some horrific stories
Yeah,
with labels. I was very lucky. I had a very good team at the time who had been part of the negotiation process for the deal, and my team at Sony who looked after me.
yeah,
Um, Unfortunately, like it didn't work out in terms of partnership. I think just where like what I was envisioning and also where the company was going, it just wasn't the right
how
fit.
long ago was this?
Oh,
Pre-COVID?
2021 maybe, or 2020. Yeah, it would have been like 2021,
During
maybe
COVID or pre-COVID?
maybe just like after
Okay.
COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
All right.
released my EP throughout the COVID process. So that also didn't help. I literally dropped my first single. It was November 2019, and we were in lockdown 3 months later. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it was a pretty
We
unprecedented time
all
for
we,
all
we
of
all
us.
learned from that experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, but that being said, I definitely learned a lot. I got to see a lot of how the industry worked. And I think on one hand, there was still that impact of, you're a young girl with big dreams and you think major label and this is what things are gonna blow and like,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
this is,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
then you kind of see the reality of the industry. You see the reality of what it's like for other artists. You're surrounded by people who are going through really difficult things and
yeah,
such. So there was definitely still a reality check moment, just kind of witnessing, I guess, how the industry works and seeing parts of it that I didn't
yeah,
love,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
You
Yeah.
must have had decent parental sort of at 14, the parents must play a decent part in, what you're doing, where you're going and support and affirmation and that. Were they a part of
Absolutely.
that? Were they a part of that Sony deal as well, or were you?
Yeah. They were there through the whole process. Obviously, they weren't
Which is
negotiating for
good.
me.
No, 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 it's good though, because you get, I'm a big fan of develop collaborators and mentors because basically the collaborators help you adventure and the mentors give you the knowledge that you don't know because it takes
Yeah.
you a lifetime to develop experience. So parents are great. They can have two sides, obviously, but they're important, I think.
Absolutely. I'm very lucky. I've got a really great support network, and I think you're only as good as your team. They keep me grounded, they keep me on track. I think I call them like 3 times a day, seriously. They're like my best friends. I
Which is
love
good,
getting
which
their
is great,
advice.
which is
Yeah,
great, especially as you get older and they become wiser. Pardon the French.
absolutely. I know as a young one, I was like, oh, mom and dad, leave me alone. Stop telling me what to do. And now I'm like, mom and dad, what do I do?
Exactly,
Help me
exactly.
out.
Venturing from music for a second, you must be excited about your Paper Dolls project.
Yes, yes, that
How
was
did
so
that come
fun.
about, and what are you hoping to get from that?
So I've been acting since I was young too. I think music was it's always been the first love, and it was how I expressed myself always,
Yeah,
like first up. But like I said, I love performing. So I've always been a avid like movie. I love film. I love watching film. I watch actors do their thing and just be like, oh, I love this. I think what I love, honestly, is storytelling. I really love telling stories in any form. So songwriting is that, performance wise, it's that you're telling a story on stage, you're trying to connect with an audience through story.
hmm,
And it's the same when you're acting, I guess, as well. I get to express maybe repressed emotions in other characters at times, from a selfish standpoint. And yeah, I'd kind of put that on the back burner when I signed with Sony because there was a lot of focus that needed to go into making the music. So I'd had an agent prior to that and I had been actively auditioning. No big things had come through yet. Took a break for a while. And then after parting ways with Sony, I kind of did a bit of an inventory on my life and looked at, okay, where am I not finding fulfillment? What is lacking here? Because I was feeling like things were missing. And I found that creatively, I was really like putting all my eggs in the music basket, which is fine because I love it. But I realized I really missed the acting side. So I ended up connecting with my agent now. And yeah, did a bunch of auditions. I think I was with her for about a year and a bit until the Paper Dolls one came through. And as soon as that came through, I think I get these feelings about things. It sounds a bit crazy, but it's true. Like I get a feeling about things in life. Sometimes I just know it's like a tingling sensation. I know it's meant for me. And the
yeah,
moment I read the Easy Sides, I was like, I'm supposed to
that's
play
you. Yep, yep,
her.
yep, yep.
And I felt so connected to it just from my experiences within the industry, seeing other people's experiences within the industry. I cried when I got the audition sides because I just really felt for her and I wanted to tell that story. So it was pretty intense, like audition process. I think we did maybe, oh, I think I did 4 auditions over 2 months for different girls as well. And that wasn't even like, I know there were some girls who did 6+ auditions and still didn't get cast. So,
Yeah.
it was
All
pretty
right.
intense.
All right.
And
But the acting game is audition. So basically, if you're not prepared to audition, most stars have done hundreds of auditions before they got their first role. So
exactly.
if you're not prepared for knockbacks when you're acting, don't act.
Yeah, yeah, it's part of the game.
Yes. Now
But
you're about to become a Hollywood movie star. Would you rather be known as an actor or a musician?
oh, I mean, I'm kind of like, ¿por qué no las dos? Why can't you do both?
There's a
I
saying, they say, don't brutalize me with the tyranny of the or, help me embrace the genius of the and. So
yes,
yeah, why don't you do both? I agree.
I love that.
But in your own mind though, consciously, you've got your own sorts of you live in the moment, so you do whatever's going on at the moment, which is great, and it opens up that way. But in
Mm.
your own mind, you've still got a plan as to what you're sort of doing and how you're sort of measuring and where you're sort of directing yourself in that space where you're looking forward. What are you seeing when you look forward? Are you seeing predominantly a muso that acts or an actor that sings?
Again, it's both. I do not want to pigeonhole myself into one lane because I think you can do both. I love acting and I love music, and I guess it is partially just right now I'm open to wherever it takes me. If I'm getting a lot of work in the acting lane, I'll continue to do that because I love making
So you
projects.
could do either. I think it's sometimes hard for an audience to see both because
Oh,
they sort of
definitely.
understand something and it's sort of confusing or something. And most of the audience is pretty simple. But
Yeah.
if you get to Beyonce, you can obviously do both because you can act and be movies and whatever. But you're basically doing your own thing. A lot of the times they bloody produce their own projects as well, so they don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
no, 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 no. At this stage, you're right. You can just wait and see what happens, and take advantage of that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm actively working on both. I've released all this independent music and that's a lot of time, effort, passion, investment
Yeah,
financially.
yeah,
So I have no intention of slowing down with the music either. It's just, I think last year was a really nice balance for me, to be honest, because I spent the first 5 months shooting paper dolls. Then I did 2 months of just working so hard to get the music done because I wanted it to come out around the same time so that I was
yeah,
getting as
yeah,
much exposure for the art as possible. And
yeah,
then I booked a movie. I shot the movie for 2 months,
yeah.
then went for the rest of the year on like PR for the show and finishing my music. So that to me was beautiful. It was ideal. I had the best year last year because I felt so creatively fulfilled and I was able to
Terrific,
do a bunch of different things, so
terrific,
that would be
terrific,
great.
terrific.
Yeah.
Well, getting back to music, you had another exciting experience, the collaboration with Jess Mauboy. Jess doesn't get much hotter than Jess at the moment.
No,
Uh,
not at
she's
all.
got
Yeah.
both too. She was in the movie a few years ago. That was pretty popular. What
Yeah.
was that like?
Yeah, she's incredible. She is honestly like a bottle of sunshine. Like the moment she walks into a room, you feel so uplifted. And I think just I don't know, getting to speak with her and hear about her experiences from the industry, like you were saying
Coming
earlier.
from an indigenous past,
Oh
so
yeah,
uh,
absolutely. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I mean, she's just so inspiring. And I think like the epitome of Australian industry, like what she's achieved as a young woman at the time who was coming up through it and now continuing to sustain that career and that success is incredible. And as a performer, I've seen her live shows, mind blowing. Like she
Yes,
should be on
yes, yes.
stages internationally, really.
She will, and
Yeah,
she performed.
absolutely.
She did something with what's his name last year? The dude from America, the guy that got millions, 80 million, 100 million Instagram followers. I can't remember half
Oh,
the name. 66, my mind goes. But
yeah.
the rapper, the
Oh, I don't know off the top of my
anyway,
head.
let's not worry about it. I'll
Yeah.
think of it and it'll come back. Um, okay, just quickly before we get on to your music, talking about inspiration, what artists would you say inspired you then and inspire you now?
Okay, so I think people get surprised by this because my genre is so not this, but Taylor Swift is always number one. As
Yes.
a
Yeah.
as a she's incredible. Like, yeah,
Of
as a young
course.
yeah. As a young
Absolutely.
girl, she really inspired me to really dig into the songwriting because I learnt my first four chords by learning one of her songs on her Speak Now album. So I used to listen to it on repeat and I'd study her song structures.
Yeah.
And it because especially country music just as a whole, but her songwriting is impeccable. It really teaches you like how to tell a story in a song. And her melodies are so catchy. So I think when I started writing songs as well, they were more on like the country lane. Like it was Speak Now era, so very country pop. I was still finding myself. And yeah, I think from there onwards, she's always held a really special place in my heart because as an artist, I mean, what she's achieved is outrageous. Like it's phenomenal.
It's more than
Um,
outrageous. I mean, she's the biggest thing in the
yeah,
world. Forget about
it's
music.
insane.
She's an influencer of ridiculous regard, and
Yeah.
she's basically done it all herself. You know, she's copped shit all the way through. So no,
Mhm.
she's been pretty cool.
To sustain a career that long for that long and maintain interest and only grow, like to expand
Give
through like
away
a
50 million bucks to all the people you're traveling, you know, you're working with.
yeah,
She's a pretty cool character.
she's
Jason
awesome.
Derulo was who Jess Mauboy did the collab.
Oh yes, Jason Derulo.
Was massive.
He's
All
perfect.
right, now here we go. On to your stuff.
Yes.
Um, your latest EP, Supreme's just been released. Yep.
Yes.
Describe its origin and evolution.
Oh, um, so it was kind of written out of a period of time where I was really trying to piece together my life again. I was in a very low place. I kind of just felt lost after doing the EP, separating from Sony, learning, hard realities about the industry and honestly questioning if it was something that I wanted to continue doing. I don't think I could ever stop making music, but the business side of it was the part that I was like, do I really want to continue in this? And the answer, I guess, the choice was yes, but I really wanted to reconnect with myself musically and collaborate with new people and just kind of see where I could take my sound and if I could fall in love with music again, honestly, because it kind of became a bit of a job and a chore,
Yep,
in a
yep,
way.
yep, yep.
So that's largely where the CP was born from. And I just started collaborating with a bunch of different people, and I kind of found the dangerous but wonderful trio of myself, Chelsea Warner, and Nardine. Chelsea Warner was the first female producer I'd ever been in a room with, and I was hooked. She's just, I mean, her herself, she's incredible. She's such a talented artist, producer, songwriter. So I was very inspired by her. But
Yeah,
we just made such a great team. We just connected musically and as people, and I had so much fun in rooms with them. And I
good.
think that's where the music came from because it was so much fun.
I think if you're adventuring and in the moment and you're having fun, that's a sign that it's working.
Yeah, definitely.
So what are the signature tracks and which are your favorites to play
Ooh.
live?
I've only played a couple of them live, a handful of times, so I'm yet to really play the whole EP live. So far, I've had a lot of fun with Angels or Gucci. I think people
Yeah,
really respond well
yeah,
to that one.
yeah,
It's great, got a great beat. What else? Stacks as well. Stacks is just like that bass when it's hitting and in the room, it feels so cool. But signature tracks. I personally, one of my faves, it always changes depending on the day or the weather or the hour.
yeah,
I really love Supreme, which is the titular track, because I think it really encapsulates
yeah, yeah,
the energy of the entire EP, hence why I named it Supreme.
yeah.
But also it just felt I don't know if experimental is the word, but kind of experimental for me. It was something new, it was a fresh sound, and I had a lot of fun just playing with different production textures, I guess, and also my vocals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You got a video coming out. I saw you had a visualizer come out for one of the tracks.
For Angels or Gucci.
Yeah,
Yeah, I actually just dropped the visualizer for Supreme yesterday. So
really.
yeah, yeah. It was that what was fun about that was a really last minute thing. I had planned the shoot. I had the idea in my head for creative direction of what I wanted from the cover art shoot. And I reached out to Tom Crawford, who's an incredible collaborator with me on this project. He's mixed
Good.
and mastered the songs. He's also written and produced one of the songs with me. He's insane. And he also films. So I was like, hey, How would you feel about just coming and let's just shoot some footage and just see what we get? And we managed to get like a really great visualizer. So I edited the footage together. I graded it. I've never graded footage before in my life, but I had fun doing it. So that's how it's
Terrific,
going to be.
terrific.
Yeah.
I hope this light isn't bloody glaring too much.
Oh, it's not too bad.
Um, do you get to keep the pretty boys in the videos?
The pretty boys? Who are
A
the
couple of years ago, you did a couple of videos there. I was just doing a bit of research, and
Oh,
anyhow, let's not worry about that. Is there an album on the drawing board?
like a
Not yet.
full-length album? Not yet. Not yet. It's something that I think I'll do when the time is right, when I feel creatively called to do a full body of work. Right now, I'm happy just doing, I'm still new. I mean that's like hard to say because I've been doing it for so long, but I'm an emerging artist. So I think until it's something that I have a fan base that are really like pining for that, I think just having singles and EP projects that feel strong and cohesive is good for me right now.
Okay. What about performing? You were talking about performing. Have you got any tours, events coming up?
Perhaps nothing I can reveal
Nothing.
right now.
Well, what can the fans expect without giving away anything? Can they expect, you know, some extravaganza, something along the lines of, a Taylor Swift show or something like
Oh, perhaps I can't promise that right now, but down the line,
that?
I hope so. For now, what they can expect is to see the latest releases for sure, played live for the first time. And also some new stuff that may or may not be coming out later this year.
Aha. Boom, boom, boom. No, no, nothing given away here. Uh, if you could perform with any music artist, alive or dead, who would you choose and why?
Oh, okay. That is a big question.
I like the big
Um,
questions.
who would I choose?
Alive or dead. Be hard to perform with the dead one, I suppose, but
Yeah, it's true. Um, you know, it's coming to mind for me right now, Aaliyah. I
uh-huh.
think Aaliyah is someone who's always inspired me, and she was definitely taken too soon. I think she would have been
Yes,
absolutely huge still
agree.
to this day if she was with us.
Agree.
She would be, yeah, I'd love to just sit and talk with her about her experiences and yeah, to perform with her on stage. I mean, her stage presence was impeccable. Her voice,
Um,
I think for me, I've always found really inspiring because she has such a strong, like, I guess, head voice sound and beautiful falsetto. And growing up in a time where, Christina Aguilera and Beyonce and these really big chesty voices was the thing, I always felt like I had to change my natural sound. But when I would listen to her records, I was reminded that having like, a stronger head voice tone is still powerful and beautiful. So that would mean a lot to me to perform with her.
okay. Well, what are the long-term aspirations still as a music artist?
Long term. I mean I want to just I mean Taylor Swift would
Arias,
be the long term.
Grammys. What's that?
To be like Taylor Swift's level would be, I'm ambitious. I'll put it out there, following her footsteps.
Well,
No, yeah, I mean, Arias, Grammys, it's not so much that. I think more I would love to, I mean, yeah, those things are great. But I just really want to be able to tour worldwide and connect with people around the world and hear them sing my lyrics back at me. That's
I
ultimately,
noticed. I noticed you didn't have what I'd call a big social media following,
oh
and
yeah.
I think I respect that personally because I think social media is a bit of a crock. It's really fans you want, followers. It depends why they're following you. If they're only fans following you, trying to catch you looking a particular way, well, they don't do much for your music, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the numbers don't necessarily mean a lot. But anyhow, uh,
Mm.
what advice would you give to an artist starting out? You've been around a few years now. What advice would you give to an artist starting out from what you've learned?
Biggest piece of advice would be to really like know yourself and trust yourself. You like obviously there is a balance of it's important to take on advice of people who have been in the industry, but if it ever feels like it's compromising who you are or your art and your connection to the art, that is a big red flag. And I
Yeah,
think
good advice.
trusting that intuition is so, so important. And also my other piece of advice would be educate yourself, like be across every part of the business that you
Yes,
can, not just the
agreed.
creative, because otherwise you are so easy to be taken advantage of. And also, it's only your benefit as an independent artist, especially, to know more about how everything works. Ask questions whenever you're on a music video set or you're in rooms with songwriters. Ask what they do, ask how they've done it. Like, just gain a network of people and of knowledge so that you can better yourself. That would be my advice.
I think that's good. What's the best thing about performing to a live audience? You haven't done a lot of it. What?
No, I have though. I actually have. I feel like as my own artist, I haven't because of COVID and stuff. Like there was a lot of things that kind of stopped me from having live shows, but
Yeah.
live performing is what I fell in love with. That is what I feel like that's honestly my superpower when I'm on stage.
Did you do
Yeah.
any acting? Did you do any plays or anything like that when you were younger, when you were doing stuff? So you were,
Yeah.
so that's a great grounding for any form of performance because basically you've got to deliver, even if they give you lines to deliver, you've got to deliver every night or every week or, in the repetitive sort of fashion that those sorts of things provide. So you've got to turn up every night and provide a different performance the same way, which is
Absolutely.
basically what you're doing with your album or your EP. You're coming out to sing the same songs to that audience. And
Yes.
if you're traveling from America to Australia to Europe, they're all different languages. So they're all got different appreciation. So that's an important thing. I think that'll stand you in good stead long term.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
We won't talk about career highlights at this point. I'm gonna sort of finish with a range of questions here, which are quick answer questions. How's that?
Okay, bring it on.
Here's three that are a bit obtuse. What's the
Obtuse.
craziest thing you've ever done?
Oh, craziest thing.
I
This
don't
is that
expect you to
crazy.
say something that's going to get you arrested, by the way.
No, the thing is, I'm like that typical A grade student and the good girl who never did anything to rebel against my parents. The craziest thing I've ever done, the first thing that comes to mind, honestly, was on a whim. I decided I wanted to purchase tickets to go and see the Harry Potter play in Melbourne. And so
Really?
I got these, like, I entered this lottery. I can't even remember what it was called, the Friday something lottery, and I ended up winning tickets. And it was like for 2 nights after I'd won them on a Wednesday night and I had work and everything. So I just very last minute was like, I can't come into work. I have an emergency. And then booked flights and flew out that morning to go and watch the 6 hour show, both parts, and flew back that night so that I could work the next day. That was the craziest thing I've ever done.
Fortunately, your employers weren't on your social media feed.
I'm sorry, old bosses. They'll never know. It's fine.
Okay. What's the one topic you can talk about for hours? Everything, I'd say, but what's the one topic you think?
Yeah, I chat a lot. Uh, Probably Harry Potter, honestly.
Really, you're a fan. How many
I
times have you
love
seen
Harry
the
Potter
series?
a
You read
lot.
all the books as a
I have
kid?
read all the books. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Probably Harry Potter.
I haven't seen the series myself yet. I started watching a few movies and then I can't remember where I'm up to and I let it go and then I start and it's all a bit of a mess.
Oh, you got to
What's,
get into it.
what's the thing you most like about yourself?
Um, that I'm loyal and I do anything for the people that I love and I say what I mean. And I think the other thing I love is I know I've got my back. Like I'm determined, and when I set my mind to something, I know that I'll see it through. And that's good to trust myself with that.
I think that's good. Finally, a few questions for some quick answer. These are the favourites, which everyone hates answering.
Okay.
Favorite album?
Oh, Channel Orange, Frank Ocean,
Yeah, Frankie Ocean. Favorite artist?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor. Favorite movie?
Oh, The Green Mile.
How can you say that after just talking about the Harry Potter movies?
Because Harry Potter is great, but in terms of like an actual piece of like
What
cinema.
about the Green Mile? The Hanks or the
All of it.
little mouse, the whole lot.
It makes me cry every time I watch it. I think it's a beautifully made film. Yeah,
Yes,
just from
it
all
is.
aspects.
Favorite place to visit?
Oh, Himes Beach, down south. It's got the widest sand in the Southern Hemisphere, and it's a
What's
little
it
slice of
called?
Himes Beach.
Where is it?
It's down south. It's like, where is it? Is it near like, I'm very bad at geography, like Jervis Bay, I think.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
down that way. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Favorite venue to play?
Ooh. I mean, my favorite local venue to play would be probably the Vanguard. I love it. I think it's just, yeah, the crew there are awesome. The sound, I've always had good experiences. Yeah.
Favorite food?
Ooh. Oh. Um, anything Mexican.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't look like you eat a lot, or
Oh,
you
what?
or you must have a good metabolism.
Oh, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I'd say you do. Favorite drink?
Matcha
That's pretty modern. Favorite person in history?
in history.
Yeah, so
Whoa.
you might have it could be God, it could be Mandela, it could be someone like your mum, could be whoever you want to say.
I know this, I don't know
Now
why.
that you know me, it could be me.
True. Oh, favorite person in history. I mean, besides my parents, and because I owe everything that I have to them, for some reason, Sacagawea came to my head, and I think it's
Really?
because
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's cool. And where do you know that from? Do you know that from like history or from the
yeah,
movie or from
I used to study ancient history. I'm very into ancient history, and I think
really?
I did like a whole piece on her in it was year 11 or 12. It was like an assignment that I did a lot of like a
Wow.
very thorough examination into her life, and she's a badass. So Sacagawea.
I'm talking to Emily Barker at 5 o'clock, and
Oh yeah.
she recorded over in England. She recorded her latest album at some 16th century bloody you know church or castle or something like that. So we don't even have anything that old over here. So it's a pretty I like history too. I'm a big history buff.
Yeah.
Now you obviously haven't got a tattoo.
I have a little one. I do.
So that's your favorite. What is it?
It's so have you ever heard of Project Semicolon?
No.
So Project Semicolon is a project that was started. I can't remember the name of the woman who started it, but it's a little dark, the meaning behind it, but it was started because her father had committed suicide,
Yeah.
and she wanted to encourage people. So Project Semicolon, people get tattoos of a semicolon on wherever they want. And the meaning of a semicolon is, an author uses it when they could have chosen to end a sentence, but they chose not to. And so the
Oh,
sentence
very
is your
good.
life and you are the author. And I was
Very good.
very, very moved by that. Um,
Very good.
but I don't know, I because I wasn't someone that ever really was like, I want a tattoo, I was very hesitant to get a tattoo, even after hearing about this project that really resonated with me. And so one night I was just up and I had this brainwave of like, what if the top dot of the semicolon was a music note, because music has always been my
Very
reason
good. Very
why.
good. Very
Um,
good.
so that's
Like
that's
it.
my little, yeah, I love it.
Very good. The parents, are they super conservative? What nationality are you?
I'm Portuguese on my mom's
So,
side.
they're not that conservative. If you've got to do a sex scene in a movie in 3 years, they're
Oh,
not.
I've already done that. I've done a sex scene in the t television series. No, they're pretty chill. They're pretty, yeah, they're
You
pretty
you
supportive.
when I was doing the research, I thought, pretty cool. I enjoyed because I'm a business guy, I suppose, but I'm a conscious guy first, and I've done business all the time, so that's a part of who I am. So I look at things from a business head, I look at them and say what's happening and what's taking place and all that. And I thought that what you had was pretty cool, and I listened to some stuff, and it was all pretty cool. You sort of you look a bit edgier than you actually are.
Oh,
Like like
oh,
like
like my
like
music.
Yeah, like it looks like, you look like you're probably a little bit more street than you actually appear. And I'm not saying
Uh,
there's no judgment of that whatsoever, because
no, no, I get
ultimately,
you.
it's all a part of you, and it looks great. And I thought it was really cool. And at the end of the day, you're performing. So
Yeah, but I think it's also just like that's what I like. Like I love R&B music. There is edge to me. I have edge in my own ways, and that is expressed largely in my music as well. It's a place that I feel safe to express that edge. But also like I think I would like to challenge the stereotype that you see of like, oh, it's street, like this is the expectation of what that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
personality is going to
yeah,
be
yeah.
like. Because you can also be nerdy, fun, whatever the word that, someone feels is fitting to describe it, and also still love street style and love, like I sing
Do you
about,
have
sorry.
just before we end? Do you have any metaphysical sort of connections? Do you meditate? Are you have you ever, like you said, you went through a bit of a dark time through COVID
Hmm.
after Sony, etc. Did you do something? Did you have a bit of mental health stuff like the world has? And what did you do about it? How did you come through it? And
Absolutely.
what were the tricks that you did, or not tricks? What were the exercise? Well, I don't know what the word is. What did you do to sort of find your way through?
Um, well, mental health and mental illness is something that I've had a lot of like history with and experience with, not only myself in my family, with friends. So something I'm very open speaking about. Yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of mental health struggles. There's always ups and downs. I think regular therapy is important for anybody. Therapy is just helpful, whether you consider yourself to have mental health
Sure,
issues or not.
sure.
And also meditation, yes, definitely. And I think the biggest thing that I found helpful is gratitude practice, daily gratitude, and
Yeah,
just being grateful for what you have.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think if you look at it, just understanding some simple stuff, in my view, there's effort and there's opportunity, and basically you look at everything through that sort of a realm. If you're always thinking about effort, I'm busy, I've got to do this, I've got to go here, I've got to, then it's going to be challenging. And if you look at opportunity, I'm going there because I'm doing this because, etc., it's going to be sort of adventurous. And I think you just got to keep your head simple. You've got to turn your mind off. You got to lead your thoughts. If your thoughts start leading you, just stop.
Yeah.
Completely
Gratitude and mindset.
stop. Do
Mhm.
something physical.
Yeah.
Meditate, which will change your setup. Punch the wall, go for a run, do something physical just to break the loop, and then you'll find that it comes back. The Buddhists talk about the impermanence of stuff. So,
Mm.
but the other thing I would say too is um, basically, basically, you listen to someone that's wise or something like that, and you say, "There's the answer," etc., because they've got this light that shines out, and then when you turn them off, no more light. So you go back and you're walking into walls. So you've got to develop your own light. So
Mhm.
that light comes from your own confidence in yourself and your acceptance that everything doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if depression hugged is a lot different to depression, rejected. So
Yeah.
everything's just accepted and move forward, and you just live in the moment and keep on accepting what's there, pain, sadness, whatever the situation is. Well, then it's a lot easier to manage, and it'll only last for periods of time. And like you said, with gratitude, you'll start to see everything that happens. A lot
Yeah.
of people don't see what's there because they
Yeah.
from here to there and they're in a hurry, so they just go there. They're thinking about this and they go there. They don't see the bits in between. As soon as you stop and see the bits in between, your life changes, and then you
Yeah.
develop a light, and then your light shines on other people's path, and then they develop a light. It's a bit like the fishing exercise, Give them fish, they eat for today. Teach them to fish, they eat forever.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the way depression works in terms of affecting one's mindset, and it becomes habitual that you think in these negative thought processes. I completely empathize and understand how that happens. It's happened to me. But there is definitely ways to rewire your mindset, and I found gratitude in particular to be a really, really potent way to do
Sure.
that, you
I'm
know?
of the principle that there's nothing to fix because the only thing that has to happen is the acceptance has to take place.
Mm,
And if
yeah,
you and if you see that there's something in everything, in every positive, I could argue a negative, and in every negative, I could argue a positive.
true,
So
yeah.
by the time you work through those whole processes, simply you just lie on your back in the river and float down the river and let the river take you where it takes you.
Mm.
So in the life situation, you make all your decisions to act and to sing and to do all that sort of stuff, but you let life direct what takes place. And you said that yourself with the intuition. Your
Yeah,
intuition says something about what's taking place, and everybody else is saying something different. Go with yours. Forget
you got
about
to
it.
trust. Yeah, you got to trust in the life path, and also self-compassion. Self-compassion is a big one too.
Self nurture. That's right. You've got to
Yeah.
nurture yourself through. That's a very key part.
Hmm.
I think you're fine. Uh, take 2 tablets and see me in the morning. No, no, I think you're going to be fine, man, and I think you're going to have a big adventure. I won't say career because the whole measurement side for me just means nothing because ultimately, if you're where you need to be, it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
You'll be where you need to be wherever you are. And in my view, if you are there, you're going to perform better, and the audience is going to get you here, not
Yeah.
here or here.
Yeah.
And if they get you here, they're fans. They're now advertisers. If they
Absolutely.
get you here, they get someone else here the next time. So
Yes.
you want them to get you here, and that's it. That to me is the situation. Thank you, man. Thank you for. Sorry if I took a fair bit of time there.
Not
I
at all. Thank
really,
you. Thanks to you for doing your time. I
I
appreciate that.
really enjoyed the conversation, and yeah, I think you speak well. So well done, and
Thank
keep doing it all. We'll follow you, and we're going to be around. So anytime you want to yell out and say, "How about you put my picture up somewhere or whatever," just yell out, and we can do that.
thank you. Thanks so much for the chat and for like listening. And yeah, I appreciate it.
Namaste. All the best.
You too.
Bye.
Yeah.